Welcome to Lumbridge Knight's skill guide for woodcutting and firemaking in free-to-play OSRS. Whether you're a total newbie or just looking for some tips, this video aims to show you the most efficient way to level your woodcutting and firemaking in free-to-play old school RuneScape. Okay, so I'm going to get straight down to business and we're going to look at two builds. The first being a build that's designed to go members, so going pay to play. This is the build on the left, you can see on the screen. I'm going to recommend 50 firemaking straight off the bat. This is so that you can do Wintertold as soon as you arrive in members pretty much. There'll be a couple of quests, but you can basically get straight into it. Wintertold by far offers the fastest XP rate for firemaking, so you want to kind of do it that way if you're going 99 pay to play. Equally, 45 wood cuttings are recommended because cutting maples in members is far easier and there's other quests and things that will accelerate your wood cutting faster. Looking at the purely free to play player, 40 firemaking is just a nice even number and it's just below the amount you need to burn maples. If you're cutting maple and yew in free to play, I imagine you probably want to sell them on the Grand Exchange, so burning them's a bit of a waste. So I kind of recommend you don't level your firemaking too high unless you're trying to max out 99, in which case you'll be there a long time, but good luck. Anyway, 60 plus. Woodcutting, this is to get the yew logs so that you can sell those on the Grand Exchange as a way of making money. Ironmen, since you can't use the Grand Exchange, there's probably no point leveling as if you're a pure free-to-play player, even if you are staying in the free-to-play game. I'd probably follow the build on the left-hand side just to get some levels, but yeah. There's also no way to get a rune hatchet unless you smith one yourself, so cutting maple and yew would be extremely painful. So let's get into the guide. The first thing you need to do is ditch your bronze hatchet and get an iron one. You can either buy that from Bob's Axes in Lumbridge for 56 coins, or you can go all the way through Varrock's sewers and find one just next to the Moss Giants. This last option is a little bit dangerous, but it's easily doable even by a level 3 character. Just remember to bring a slash weapon to cut the spider's web. Now that you've got your iron axe, you now need to learn what I'm going to call the Lumbridge Run. So you can see an overview on the screen there, and there's a line of firemaking coming across the screen north to south from the sign on the sheared ram. That is where you burn your logs, because that is almost like an entire inventory run from the sign backwards, and your character will just follow that line naturally. Equally, you can see to the south of the screen there's plenty of regular logs, and there's 2 oak trees directly behind the general store. You're going to be in this area now right up until level 31, when we're going to switch to the next area, but for now, start clicking on those trees and leveling up. Once you hit level 6, buy yourself a steel axe from Bob's Axes for 200 coins, or go to the Grand Exchange and buy one for 36. Carry on getting those full inventories of logs and burning them from the sheared ram. Once you hit level 11, head off to the Grand Exchange in Varrock and buy yourself a black axe for approximately 310 coins. So once you've got your black axe, head back down to the Lumbridge Run and guess what? Carry on getting those full inventories and burning them from the sheared ram. Once you hit level 15, you can then move to the 2 oak trees. You can see the overviews back on the screen there just to remind you which trees are the oak trees. Now that you can cut oak, the skill becomes a little bit more AFK because your character will just cut and get multiple logs from the same tree. So you guessed it, carry on getting those full inventories and burning them from the sheared ram. Just a quick FYI, oak isn't really worth selling, so that's why I'm saying just burn it all. Once you hit level 21, head off back to the Grand Exchange and buy yourself a mithril axe. This will cost you around 82 coins, and I bet by now you know what you need to do. So once you hit level 31, head back to the Grand Exchange and buy yourself an adamant axe. Just a quick FYI here, if you're struggling for money, before you start any sort of skilling in OSRS, complete the Stronghold of Security. The reward is 10,000 coins, and even level 3 players should be able to get all the way through to the end and claim those coins. Once you've got your adamant axe, you're ready for the next step. Please like the video and support my content. Thank you, noble knight. Once you're level 30, you could have moved straight over and started to cut willows, but the best place to cut willows is in Draenor Village. However, there's 2 dark wizards which hang around the willow trees, and they're level 7, so you need to be at least combat level 15 in order to do this next step in the most efficient manner. There are other willow trees in the game. I really recommend now going and training up to combat level 15. If you want a guide, I'm currently working on some free-to-play combat guides. They'll be out shortly. If they're already out, I'll link them on the screen and in the description. So I'm now going to assume you're level 15 so that the dark wizards are no longer aggressive. You can see I've got another overview on the screen there, this time of Draenor Village. just to the south of the bank. Again, you can see that I've got a fire line in there of where you need to go to light your logs, and the willow trees located on screen here. So same as before, start cutting the willow trees, getting those full inventories of willow and burning them from the fence line as shown on the screen. Rinse and repeat this all the way up to level 41. I recommend going to the Grand Exchange now and buying yourself a rune axe. On the Grand Exchange, these will currently cost you 7,137 coins and is the best in slot hatchet for free to play. Carry on cutting willow and burning them until you hit level 45. Here's where it could take several routes depending on your plans as a character. If you've started the Corsair Cove quest and completed Dragonslayer, you can access the area now being shown on the screen, which is the only place I believe you can cut maple in the free-to-play world. If you have done these things, move to this area and start cutting maple. This is probably the point where I'd say stop burning and start saving the maple, and you can sell them on the Grand Exchange. There's a bank at Corsair Cove, it's a bit of a trek, but it's not a million miles away. Start cutting maple and banking it. If you haven't completed Dragonslayer and you haven't started the Corsair Curse quest, carry on with Willow all the way up to level 60. Once you reach level 60, move on to yew trees. You can stay in Corsair Cove if you want to, as there's 3 yew trees southwest of the maple trees. You can see it there on the screen. However, the best place by far in free to play is Edgeville. Move to Edgeville and you can see on the screen now there's 2 yew trees literally right next to the bank. You guessed it, start cutting these and banking the yew logs. This, my friends, is basically the end of the guide for free to play, as there is no more progression. Yews are the highest experience tree in the free to play world, and this is the best spot. If you have any top tips of your own, or anything that you disagree with, or anything I could do better in this guide, please leave a comment and let me know. I'll include it in the content going forward. Thank you and peace out. If you've enjoyed this video and it has been at all helpful, please like, subscribe and leave a comment. I, the Lumbridge Knight, am at your service. So until the next time, fare thee well, brave adventurer.